Greetings, I'm Tom Vogelmann, Dean of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences here at the University of Vermont, and it's a real privilege to be part of this conference. I thought yesterday was absolutely fantastic. Just to give a quick recap, yesterday we heard from Roz Naylor and a panel on the biophysical constraints for the food systems. And even though I follow many of these issues daily, I learned quite a bit from yesterday's discussion, and I'm extremely grateful to the presenters for that, and I'm hoping that you did too. Although I was aware of the development of the palm oil plantations in the tropics, I had no idea to the extent that they have been developed and how rapidly this has happened. And I also learned from Roz that these plantations consist of like one genotype. So we're growing a monoculture in the tropics, and I'm thinking, haven't we learned anything? In that the tropics is a place that's notorious for the evolution of insect pests and fungal diseases. And if there's anything that struck me is that it's not a question of a crash happening in this agricultural system, it's a question of when. So think about what this means both for the global economy and for what's happening locally. I was absolutely fascinated by Eric Garza's use of data, which elegantly allows us to know where the energy inputs occur in growing and transporting of food. And this gives us the ability to focus on those areas where energy savings can be most readily gained. And then Nate Forst-Mayer provides a window on the use of high tunnel greenhouses to increase the amount of food that is grown locally and to extend the growing season. And he left us a teaser. And the teaser was, to what extent will this technology expand and become part of our agricultural system here in the US? And if you want a teaser of where this could go, Google Almeria, Spain. This is a place that represents greenhouses on steroids, and you can actually see these things from space. So who knows, maybe this will be part of our future too. Cheryl Breen describes several fascinating systems for preserving seeds, some social and others physical. And what was crossing my mind then is that seeds have a lifetime, and how long can you store these things? Some last centuries, some not. And I was kind of bothered by that. But then a colleague reminded me afterwards, you know what, this is also a DNA repository. It doesn't matter if the seeds germinate or not. And so I see Cheryl nodding. So I was really gratified for that. And then finally, Nancy Hayden gave us a really elegant presentation about the extent to which other creatures are part of our agriculture, and that we have an opportunity, if not an obligation, to think about ecological best practices as we move into a future of global climate change. I call it global weirdness. So agriculture is as much as a social issue as it is a biological one, and this morning we delve into social issues with a keynote talk from Eric Holt Jimenez and a panel on the geopolitical context of our food system. And this afternoon we'll hear from Nicholas Freudenberg and his panel on behavioral and cultural considerations for the food system. So now I have the pleasure of introducing David Rosowsky. He is Provost and Senior Vice President of the University of Vermont since last August. He came to UVM from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, where he served as Dean of Engineering, and prior to that, he served as head of the Zachary Department of Civil Engineering at Texas A&M University. Provost Rosowsky maintains an active research program in wind and earthquake engineering and continues to supervise graduate students and postdoctoral researchers, and he also does research on wood. With great pleasure, Provost Rosowsky.
Good morning. Dean Vogelmann, thanks for the comments and the introduction as well. I feel obligated to point out something that's not in the bio, as I'm a New Englander. So even though I've roamed the country over the last 25 years as in my academic career, I'm finally back home in New England here at the University of Vermont, and I couldn't be happier. So on behalf of President Tom Sullivan, I'd like to extend the university's welcome to this event and to the discourse that you're engaging in this week. We are enormously proud that the Food Systems Summit has the moniker UVM at the top. We think it's appropriate for the university. We think it has the opportunity to bring people to our campus and to help us define what is really one of our pinnacle strengths at the University of Vermont. We support a number of transdisciplinary areas of scholarship, and these include food systems, but also complex systems and neuroscience, behavior, and health. In addition, we have a rapidly growing rich discourse around the humanities, and we have reinvigorated our university's Humanities Center to rise up to the level of this interdisciplinary scholarship thrust. And finally, in the next, well, let's see, where are we? June-ish. So I hope in the next 6 months, certainly by the end of the fall semester, we will be launching the university's Institute for the Environment, which is an extremely exciting initiative for the university that will bring the entire campus together around topics connected directly and indirectly to our planet and its environment. So all of this is to say we're focused, and we are trying to work at the interstitial space between traditional disciplines, and we're trying to have impact, and we're trying to not only distinguish ourselves as a great research university, but contribute to the solutions to the grand challenges we face as a nation and as a people and as a planet. Food systems, one of those. You well understand that food systems as a collection of disciplines draws on scholars and teachers and researchers across the panoply of disciplines at any great university. That includes from philosophy to plant and soil science, anthropology to nutrition and food sciences, pretty much the entire spectrum of social sciences, natural sciences, engineering, economics and business, and of course anything that touches health sciences. So it's an integrative topic that's perfectly suited for a comprehensive land-grant research university like ours. We're also, as we stand up our programs in food systems, looking at what kinds of innovative degree programs and co-curricular programs we can create, not only for our students, but for students around the state of Vermont and those who choose to come to the University of Vermont. So we have an interdisciplinary food systems graduate program that is already creating master's degree opportunities that bring faculty and students together from across campus, and I expect these will continue to grow. And what's really exciting is if I think about those three interdisciplinary research areas, food systems, complex systems, and neuroscience, behavior and health, cognitive disciplines, there is a confluence between the pairs and all three of those that I think is inevitable for us as we watch complexity issues touch on food systems issues, as we watch human health and behavior issues touch on food systems issues or touch on complexity issues. So we're very excited at the University of Vermont and very proud of our food systems program. I want to underscore the commitment that the university has made in particular to transdisciplinary food systems research projects. For example, the Vermont Farm Resilience in a Changing Climate Initiative, which is looking at how Vermont farmers are experiencing and responding to climate change, and study how instructional food purchases affect the local economy. We also, this year as a university, became a co-sponsor of the new Journal of Agriculture, Food Systems, and Community Development, along with some other leading academic institutions such as Johns Hopkins University and Iowa State University. We also provide support for events throughout the year, including food systems speakers, of course this event, the UVM Food Systems Summit, and we've also directed the coming year's first-year reading book, which is something that we do, like many other universities, squarely into the domain of food systems by declaring Michael Pollan's book, Cooked, as the first-year reading book. And that's really not just for our first-year students, but for our entire campus. We use the book as a jumping-off point for conversations and for projects and for intellectual discourse and discovery throughout the year, throughout the campus. And as part of that, we'll be bringing Michael Pollan to campus this fall in October. Of course, we're also very proud of the relationship that the University of Vermont has to its community, both locally here in Burlington and more broadly the state of Vermont. Our research, our teaching is reaching very quickly and very importantly into the applied world the local farm world, the food production world. We're very grateful for the nonprofit collaborators that interact with our faculty and our students literally every day throughout the year. Many of them, of course, are supporting the Food Summit here this week. These include the Intervale Center, the Center for an Agricultural Economy, the Farm to Plate Network, NOFA Vermont, Chelsea Green Publishing, Shelburne Farms, and of course the Vermont Fresh Network. The list goes on and on. All of this is to say I think Vermont is the right state to be hosting these conversations and these important discussions and the discourse that comes out of events like this summit. Vermont is also the right state, I think, to dedicate intellectual focus and capacity of its land-grant public research university to this topic, and I think we're positioned to make an impact and contribute to the necessary revolution, not only here in the state of Vermont, but across the nation and around the planet. So thank you for being with us today. I wish you a very successful visit, and thanks for inviting me to speak.